did uphold birthright citizenship. But then again, there's been a lot going on with the Supreme Court, and I'm shocked that they did this. Clarence Thomas, by the way, dropped a 90 page opposition to the Supreme Court upholding birthright citizenship. Where was it? Thomas, who wrote the main dissent, disagreed with the majority's opinion on birthright citizenship, basis his argument, among other things, is that the court ignored evidence from Reconstitution debates that suggest the citizenship depended on a deep relation to the country. The citizenship clause was enacted for people who were born in this country who called it home. It was enacted for freed slaves such as Dred Scott, who had a domicile here and therefore was entitled to sue as citizens. Thomas wrote in his dissent, concluding that Reconstitution was a targeted remedy for freed slaves and restored citizenship to wrongly excluded groups. Fuck you. You're such a fucking piece of shit, race traitor. We break no new ground today. This was very good. This was very, very good. They also Supreme Court declines to hear Trump case. Yeah. So Trump's been trying to overturn the E. Jean Carroll sexual assault and the sexual abuse case that he said was defamation. And they said, no, we're not going to hear it. So this is really, really, really good. I think the Supreme Court's probably turning on Trump more often now because they're seeing the writing on the wall. Granted, a lot of them are pieces of shit and evil motherfuckers who, Roe v. Wade got overturned because of them. The people that are voting against Trump, they just don't want to be complicit in the Trump's administration decline. And they want to be like, oh, no, look, we voted against Trump. No, you guys didn't. Trump blasted the ruling on social media, vowed to keep fighting for the case with all my power and strength, even though the justices seemed to shut the door on the verdict. Why am I yawning so much? Trump referred to Carroll as a woman I've never met. He wrote on Monday, referring to a picture emerged of him. Celebrity photo line standing with her husband does not count. This case, really against the United States of America, as it stands for, should never be allowed to happen to another president or candidate to be. This injustice cannot be allowed to stand. Yeah, all right, buddy. All right, pal. I wonder if he truly believes that at this point that he never met her. Trump has denied Carroll's allegations, with his lawyers noting that Carroll never reported the incident to the police. Yeah. And there was no witnesses. Yeah, that's how it works, guys. Trump's legal team said in court filing that Carroll waited until he was president to bring her claims so she could maximize political injury to him and profit for herself. Yeah, and he assaulted her. Yeah, and question mark? I don't know, man.
To break down the birthright citizenship ruling for us.
Yeah, and it's narrower, Antonia, than we thought it was going to be, certainly by listening to oral argument. There are 5 justices who have voted to say that the 14th Amendment's citizenship clause protects birthright citizenship as we have long understood it. A 6th justice, Justice Kavanaugh, joins the opinion in part, but not in whole. And let me read to you his stunning first paragraph. He says that the executive order that's at issue here establishes new exceptions to birthright citizenship for children born to foreign citizens unlawfully or temporarily in the country. That the court today holds that the order violates the 14th Amendment. I respectfully disagree with the court's constitutional holding. In my view, the executive order doesn't violate the 14th Amendment, but it does contravene a federal statute. And then Justice Kavanaugh goes out of his way to say, consistent with the 14th Amendment, Congress could amend that statute or otherwise enact new legislation establishing exceptions to birthright citizenship for children born to foreign citizens unlawfully or temporarily in the country, but Congress has not yet done so. In other words, 5 justices saying the Constitution is the Constitution is the Constitution, and Justice Kavanaugh saying, yeah, I agree with them in terms of the state of federal law, but if Congress wants to change this, that's up to Congress. And so let me make a larger point about Justice Kavanaugh today.
He's a pussy. He's a pussy who took his hands off it and doesn't want to be complicit. Because he's a relatively younger person.
We often talk about the Roberts Court. After today, this term at least will be a big thumb on the scale, fist on the table for Brett Kavanaugh, who has issued multiple majority opinions today and also is really the big deciding vote here, right? By concurring in the judgment, but also leaving for another day whether Congress can make a different decision. You can see how in a court composed a little bit differently, because it is only a 5-4 decision on the constitutional ground, how this could have gone very differently, despite the fact that after oral argument, many of us thought this might be a 7-2 decision. And instead, what you've got is only 5 justices saying constitutionally birthright citizenship is the law of the land, a 6th saying it's the law of the land, but only because of federal statute. And then you've got 3 other justices saying no. They would side with the president here and say that the executive order is perfectly consistent.
Because they're psychotic. Because they know they're going to die out before they get any repercussions. So they're going to like milk the president as much as they can right now.
With the Constitution of the United States, because I believe of this.
What did Fox say about this?
Shannon,
I'm curious what Fox said about this.
we have another decision, and it's a big one.
They've made a
It
bunch
has
of
to do with
decisions today.
birthright citizenship. It was an executive order that President.
Also, the Supreme Court said that states could be, withhold gender affirming care and block trans women from participating in sports, or trans people from participating in sports.
Trump,
What's up,
on day
Versailles?
one of his second term in January 2025, signed the executive order. It was immediately challenged, and now we can tell you that the U.S. Supreme Court has ruled against President Trump's order to limit birthright citizenship. Shannon, we have talked for some time about the president feeling that he would not win on this one. The question is, why not?
Okay. Right off the bat, it says children born in the United States to parents unlawfully or temporarily present are, quote, subject to the jurisdiction of the United States and are citizens at birth under the 14th Amendment's Citizenship Clause. So look how this broke down. As we expected, the Chief Justice wrote this opinion. Justices Sotomayor, Kagan, Barrett, and Jackson joined. Jackson has a concurring opinion in which Sotomayor joins. Justice Kavanaugh files an opinion concurring in the judgment and dissenting in part. The dissent comes from Justice Thomas. He is joined by Gorsuch, Alito, and then Justice Gorsuch apparently has his own dissenting opinion. So it is what we expected after the arguments here, and it looks like a bit of a split, but enough of a plurality coming together to say that the executive order that the president issued very quickly upon taking office is no good, and that's the day. So a loss probably.
Well, this is exactly what some of us predicted after the oral argument. Chief Justice Roberts said rather pointedly when counsel noted that things have changed in the citizenship area.
I'm skipping because I don't want to hear the fucking same shit over and over again.
Citizenship, become citizens. Roberts pointedly said, well, the Constitution hasn't changed. And that is reflected in this opinion. It is a roaring decision in favor of birthright citizenship as contained within the 14th Amendment. That is despite the countervailing evidence of some of the drafters of that amendment that they did not want this to be something that would cover birthright citizenship. Now, having said that, there are very good arguments on both sides here. Good faith.
Wow. They're going with a good faith on both sides. Oh my God. Holy shit. Man, maybe Trump's grasp on psychotic pieces of shit and evil neocons who do want Trump but feel like they're losing control, and Trump is gonna drop faster than I thought.
I'm just reading through the Roberts decision today, but it is a very comprehensive and good faith argument. What is left here is a decision for the country as to whether it wants to examine a constitutional amendment. Some countries that
it won't. This amendment will never go away. If it's left up to an amendment, the amendment will never go away.
have had birthright citizenship got rid of it. Because many of us believe it's an incredibly ill-considered policy.
Never mind. I was wrong. Sorry.
we can make that decision as well. But we're going to have that debate, and we're going to have to agree. We really haven't had a national debate on this. This has largely been contained within the court system, and it may be time for us as a country to
Yeah, but the amendment would never be repealed,
decide,
or rather, we would never get another amendment
how we define
reversing that.
citizenship.
All right, 14th Amendment ratified in 1868.
Woke amendment. I love birthright citizenship. You come to America, and get pregnant and give birth. That kid, American citizen.
Back to Shannon Bream for
It literally is such a path to freedom for some people.
the view from Justice Thomas, who was a dissenter here. Shannon.
Yeah, in his dissent, he gets to that point, Bill, that you're making there. The 14th Amendment was enacted in the wake of the Civil War, quote, with the one pervading
Who fought the Civil War? Who fought the Civil War?
purpose of securing equal citizenship for the freed slaves. He writes, it was enacted, as Justice Harlan wrote, to secure to a race recently emancipated the civil rights that other citizens enjoyed. So Thomas has always been about that was the purpose of the 14th Amendment. He goes on to say that the court, meaning the majority now, has repurposed the 14th Amendment to protect its own set of preferred rights that the Reconstruction Congress never contemplated and that cannot find
Yeah, the Reconstruction Congress that didn't do enough.
support in the text. Today, the court does so by recognizing a constitutional right to citizenship for the children of all foreign birth tourists and illegal aliens.
Truth, nuke, woke. We love this.
He uses very specific language there. Again, Justice Thomas.
But most people come to America to escape dire situations in their home countries that America created. Truth, nuke. Truth, nuke. Yeah. No, I agree. But I don't think you're making an argument against birthright citizenship. I love birthright citizenship, chat. Never doubt me on that. I'm a pro birthright citizenship. Woker. I'm a woker, baby. If you get pregnant, have a kid here, boom, they're a citizen.
Adhering and agreeing with the government's argument, with which they made here very passionately, that the 14th Amendment was about protecting the children of freed slaves and not what we've come to understand it as. You see his language there. He mentions birth tourism.
I'm sorry, it was in response to them saying, "Oh, no. I get what you're saying. I thought you were responding to me. No. Sorry, that's my fault. You're woke. I give you. I raise my hand like Jesus raising above his disciples, and I give you the woke. I give you the woke."
It came up in the arguments, and clearly that's a very big concern of the dissenters. We also have dissents by Justice Alito and others, so we'll read those as well.
All right, thank you so much. Let's bring in.
Yeah. It's Kaylee from this server in TikTok yesterday. Oh, what's up, Kaylee? Woke, nuke, truth nuke. You could always follow. You hit that little follow button, the little purple heart. So I'm curious about this. I have no idea what they're going to talk about here. I am following? Are you?
Today, the court upended decades of
Doesn't look like you are.
with a ruling that will have an immediate impact on how
Oh,
tens
you
of
are.
billions of dollars
Sorry, my bad.
flow into this year's midterms. In a 6-3 decision, the
Live spending limit. Oh. Yeah, this is what I mean. Like, they're definitely anti-Trump, but they're not anti-establishment.
justices struck down caps on federal
Yeah. Man, yeah.
campaign finance spending, clearing the way for major political party groups to now spend unlimited amounts of money in coordination with a specific candidate. In her dissenting opinion,
So like Elon Musk with 300 billion.
Justice Elena Kagan argues that the majority's opinion, quote, jettisons a rule needed to protect our democracy's integrity. Justice Kagan writes, quote, here the subject is campaign finance law. For those who think there is too much of it in this country, for those who would prefer even more money to be pumped even more easily into politics, despite the danger of corruption, this overruling is for you. I want to bring in voting rights attorney and founder of Democracy Docket, Mark Elias. He argued this case before the Supreme Court. Dahlia and Ben are still with me. I know you usually win. Of all your wins, it's unfortunate.
Yeah, obviously. Not good. Not hashtag good. Man, this Supreme Court is because they're liberals, not leftists. No. The left-leaning justices. It's 6-3, Republican, conservative, liberal. Like all the conservatives voted against it or voted for this. All the liberals voted against this, right? It's 6-3, right? Not 5-4. Supreme Court makeup. 9 justices. Yeah, 6-3. Conservative, liberal. I mean, the people in the news. Oops. Truk. Bomb dropped. MS Now is like mid. Like they're a little bit more left leaning than like CNN. But yeah, I mean, this is really bad. Voting based on hate. America is sunk to swamp level. We've been in swamp level. Truk, nuke, boom. Man. Right when you get one piece of somewhat good news, you get slapped in the face by a giant dick of bad news. This is actually bad information. This is actually not good.